Like I didn't make the allegations. I didn't tell people to say these things. It comes out, I see it in the news like everyone else.
Do you believe wholeheartedly that Jay's your father?
I really do.
Chances are, just out of nowhere, random universal selection, this boy who's not related to you has your nose, has your mouth, has your brow line, has your hairline. It's like all of this just by accident. You've been ducking this boy's DNA for all it's like. Take the test.
50 Cent is prospering right now because Jay-Z has got a legal bombshell that might tear everything apart. A judge has ruled that Rymir Carter's paternity case is still pending. No more delays, no more concealing.
Your big homie want to look like a gay painter.
What are we talking about here?
We're talking about Basquiat. He wants to look like a gay painter.
Oh my God, I think I know where we're going with
So
this.
now look, what I'm saying to you is, look, when you start looking at, that's not mine, that's theirs, they're Harper, right? But when you look at, M is looking at the entire legacy.
Yeah.
The whole thing, like with M.
And what do you know? Jay-Z has until July 18th to respond. If he doesn't, things might become worse. But here's when it becomes blatantly theatrical. Rumor has it that 50 Cent is footing Rymir's legal expenses. In fact, it appears that he is paying for the entire litigation himself. To make matters worse, he is making Rymir the main focus of his upcoming documentary, which is already expected to expose Diddy and Jay-Z's malfeasance. This is not only about the law, it is also about legacy, power, and reputation.
She met Jay-Z and had intercourse with him. How old was she?
I would say I think she was about 16, 17, or 16, just turning 16 or 17. I know it was one of them.
And Jay-Z was what age?
I wouldn't happen to know. I think he was in his 20s?
I read 22.
Oh, yeah.
I think I read 22, but he was in.
Yes, I wouldn't happen to know his age, but 22, I'm pretty sure if they put that out there, then...
It is developing into a real confrontation. Now let us talk about the real problems. This dispute is by no means new. Rymir has always maintained that he is Jay-Z's biological son, and his mother claims that she first connected with Jay in 1992 when she was just 16 years old. Because of this, it goes beyond tabloid gossip.
I really try not to get frustrated, basically. I really try not to think about it, I go on with my life, because, anything could happen, but I still gotta live for myself at the end of the day. I still gotta work and bring in income for me. I can't sit around, I gotta get up off my feet and do something. I can't wait on the world. Like I can't say, I can't wait on anybody to want to respond when they want to. It is important that I know who my biological father is, just because, my mom's health, I don't know if it's coming from our family or it's coming from the other side, and that would be something I really would want to find out, because, in the future, you don't know what could happen. And a lot of people are so quick to judge because they see somebody coming out and try to find out if the person that, trying to find out things, they so negative to push you down,
The game is over if even a small percentage of this is accurate. The most ridiculous twist is this one. Sources claim that Beyonce has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to stop this story. When 50 Cent prodded the Beehive and a court finally declared, "Let us run it," this case went from being talked in whispers to a full-fledged swarm of activity. On the streets, there is a lot of discussion about how this whole issue may destroy Jay-Z's life. His billion-dollar business was shaky, his marriage was in danger, and his reputation was on the line. Let us go back in time nevertheless. Who is Rymir Carter in real life, and why has this case been dragging on for over a decade with little attention to date? Despite what some people believed, his real name is Rymir Satterthwaite, not Carter, and he is not only trying to get influence. This man has been seeking the truth since he was 19. He has been trying to prove that Jay-Z is his biological father for more than half of his life. Rymir's mother, Wanda, claims that in the early 1990s, when she was still a minor, she first met Jay-Z. Crickets left her when she tried to get in touch with him after she became pregnant. No responses, no help, no silence. Rymir is no longer being polite. He has grown up. He is coming with a vengeance because he wants the truth. However, this is where things become even messier. Rymir's godmother, Lily Coley, said that Jay-Z's employees initially tried to be kind. Rymir's musical skills even led them to contemplate signing him to Roc Nation. But then, everything changed. The tone changed suddenly. The mood turned cold when new lawyers took over. Certainly something took place behind the scenes. So why did Jay-Z's group suddenly take a different direction? The worry probably began when they realized how far this may go legally. Let us face it, we are talking about more than just a little controversy. If Rymir's story is to be believed, this goes beyond age. It has to do with crossing state lines with a minor. Jay-Z had already been charged with driving a 16-year-old from Philadelphia to Brooklyn. That is not only messy, but it can also be against the law. His lawyers have been pursuing this action for almost 10 years, which makes reasonable. They have been doing all they can to conceal it, postpone it, and stop it, because if this goes wrong, his whole empire may fall. We may be discussing criminal investigations, litigation, and public outcry depending on how far this goes. Let us take another look at it. Since he was a youngster, our 32-year-old guy has been looking for answers. His mother, who unfortunately died, wrote a signed statement before she died detailing everything that allegedly happened. Finally, a judge is pursuing this issue because he is fed up with the legal fighting. It will not go away this time. Keep in mind that 50 Cent is in the front row, seeing all of this. Apart from giving Rymir financial assistance, he is also preparing the Diddy and Jay-Z expose.
The Beyonce thing came when a friend of mine who knew her, somebody in her camp,
Okay.
and she said something supposedly, this is all hearsay,
Okay.
about regarding saying Rymir needs to go away, little boy, something to that effect. It was something out there. But
that's why I
people
said
were
real.
saying that she's a big part of the problem for him. And some of the things that she was doing, a woman would not.
This is not only a legal issue anymore, Jay's timing in this hip-hop power shift could not be worse. People are reevaluating their assumptions about the industry's biggest performers, particularly Diddy, who is already coming under fire. There are now whispers that Jay-Z could be directly connected to some of the evidence that Diddy was charged with using. The game is evolving. Finally, those who have been kept silent for years are being given a voice. Even though Jay-Z thought this would never happen again, 2025 came with a bang, and nothing is being kept a secret anymore. Let us start from the beginning now. 1992. Jay-Z was still putting forth a lot of effort and was only beginning to make a name for himself as a rapper. Wanda, Rymir's mother, says she first met him at that time. She says Jay drove her straight to his aunt's house in Brooklyn after picking her up in Philadelphia. The question is raised by it alone. Why would you want to move a teenage girl from one state to another? It is more than just shady. It is almost illegal. 2 weeks later, she says, he came back for one last visit and vanished. No calls, no communication, nothing. He completely left her behind. The problem becomes considerably worse at this point. The story is far more complicated than most people think, according to Wanda's close friend, Dr. Lily Coley. Both the alleged event and Jay-Z were still using their street name, Rock, at the time. Not just any quiet block, though. It was a notorious hub for drug trafficking. According to Coley, Jay was working hard outside as well. Wanda did what a lot of scared young women do when they find out they are pregnant, since they do not have a way to call him. On the birth certificate, she named her ex-boyfriend Robert Graves. But this deceit did not last long. Robert underwent a DNA test in 2011, and the results were clear. He was not the father. The courts removed his name. Furthermore, because Wanda only admitted to being with Robert and Jay, Rymir decided it was time to stop speculating and begin fighting. By filing a paternity case in 2010, he legally made it official, but things quickly got complicated. The case was still pending. The paperwork was a huge mess, and Jay-Z's legal team, they were not going to cooperate. This was not your typical family quarrel. It was the beginning of a difficult fight against one of the most well-known musical figures. According to Rymir, Jay-Z's legal team has been behaving dishonestly since the start and has even bought off judges and lawyers to conceal the truth. To be honest, the way this issue has been handled makes you question whether he is being truthful. Given how many times this litigation has been rejected, refiled, shifted from court to court, and postponed, it feels like a terrible recurrence. With every idea Rymir comes up with, the goalposts change. At one point, Jay-Z's lawyers even argued that he could not be forced to take a DNA test in New Jersey since he did not own any real estate there. Seriously? That was how they defended themselves. But what do you know? Rymir had brought the receipts. He discovered documents confirming that Jay-Z actually owned real estate in New Jersey at the time, completely refuting his defense. At this point, suspicions begin to grow. Since Rymir disclosed that Jay-Z does own own property in New Jersey, one would anticipate that the court will eventually move forward with the DNA test. Wrong. Instead, the legal teams kept playing defense as the case was again misguided and tossed around like a hot potato for no apparent reason. Furthermore, Rymir is not a troll on the internet. For almost a decade, he has been engaged in this war, dropping evidence, using his own money, and refusing to back down. He even took the case all the way to the Supreme Court in an attempt to get justice, but again, blocked. As he climbs higher, he comes across more brick barricades. Why is that? People with knowledge of the situation say that Jay-Z's team has made every effort to delay, reject, and reroute, including deliberately missing deadlines and opposing judicial jurisdictions. There are power movements. It is a way of hiding something. Even lawyers are starting to question why this person has not simply taken the DNA test and gotten his name cleared if he really has nothing to hide. Rymir makes things very clear. If he is not my father, prove it to me. But Jay-Z, total silence. I have nothing to say, no public denial, no transparency. Meanwhile, there are growing speculations that this is about more than just the test, not only for Rymir, but for Jay-Z's entire image, his ancestry, his union, his name. By now, everyone is furrowing their brows because there are other factors at play here besides DNA. Jay-Z is avoiding the test a lot, according to Rymir's staff, because it has more to do with it than paternity. If the test confirms Rymir's allegations, it might result in lawsuits, back child support demands, and media exposure that Jay has been avoiding for decades. This is no longer just a he or she remark, you see. It has to do with accountability under the law. It is related to appearance. It is related to money, too. If Rymir is found to be Jay-Z's biological son, he may bring a retroactive lawsuit for lost opportunities, money, and other damages. And millions are at stake here. Furthermore, it may damage Jay-Z's painstakingly maintained reputation as a devoted family guy and dad. Additionally, records and sealed documents that were not carefully reviewed during the first inquiry have been sought by Rymir's legal team. Documents that demonstrate the amount of work Jay-Z's crew did to keep this a secret could exist. Due to 50 Cent fanning the flames and making the entire episode public, the pressure is more than it has ever been. This is no longer just a personal issue, it is a show. Additionally, fans are watching Jay closely and are ready to intervene if he makes a mistake. Now, every move, court appearance, and interview pertaining to this case is being examined by the internet. Rymir will not compromise. Jay-Z's silence is also starting to feel like a reaction in and of itself. Because, let us be honest, would it not be possible to swiftly rule out someone who has been posing as your child for over a decade with only one test? Just one, but Jay hasn't, and that silence, simply put, things are getting worse. Meanwhile, Beyonce's name is still associated with the scandal. Several reports claim that she has been doing all in her power to keep this problem from harming her brand. Rumor has it that she has been pressuring Jay to handle it privately before it completely takes over her life. And is she truly to blame? The pillars of her whole business are appearance, control, and accuracy. This exact location. There is anarchy, but there is more. The odd coincidence that all of this is taking place at the same time as certain prominent hip-hop artists are being singled out by the police has been brought to light by fans. Diddy's kingdom is in shaky shape. Others are being investigated, and it is said that Jay-Z is hiding a decades-old paternity scandal. The general public is starting to wonder how big this brotherhood really is, at what cost, and for whom is protection being provided. It is not only about Rymir anymore. Erasure, manipulation, and silence are the patterns. How about Rymir? He can no longer be erased. He is forcing the most famous hip-hop artist to face the one thing he has avoided for years. Now, it is clear that 50 Cent is not only mocking Jay-Z anymore, he is contributing to what may turn out to be the biggest paternity dispute in the history of hip-hop. And time is running out now that a court has finally put pressure on this case. Which aspect is the best? We are just getting started. The question now is whether Harv will finally accept the repercussions or keep playing the game that has been popular for decades. Anyway, we are watching, supporters are watching, and 50 is grinning like if he had won the lotto. What do you believe Jay-Z will do next? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Should he take the test or keep avoiding it? Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you would like more in-depth analysis like this one.